You know what? One thing I gotta admit is when you're looking at one game specifically, if you're like me, you go backwards. Let me run this back a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. If you're like me and you do end up starting on the newer games and working yourself backwards, you probably look at this going, okay, well, let's notice the differences of a newer game and then going back into an old one, right? I mean, that's probably what you would notice, and a lot of people might have different thoughts of, well, how does this game feel, or how's the menu in this game feel, how's the pacing, how's the tone of it feel to the newer game, because this one is obviously older. We all do know that Forza Horizon 2 in a lot of ways compared to 3, guys. I will admit it, the game will probably feel a bit slower in different areas. To me, it almost feels in a way, it has like a classical grounded feeling to it, okay? And I don't know if this is just because the game is older. Maybe it's because I'm losing my mind. I've been going back in and playing older games. Honestly, dude, I have no idea which one it is at this point. But y'all know what, though? Kind of another way I was thinking about this a little bit might end up being down to the simple fact of maybe Forza Horizon 2 is obviously an older game, which we probably all know at this point. But if you are playing the newer version of that game, then yes, you will end up noticing how that game will have, it's probably going to feel more polished in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously, it's newer. They will end up refining stuff and all that. But I did notice, though, going back into Forza Horizon 2 that the game still had a special feeling to it that almost still made it feel alive in a different way that also was different than how Forza Horizon 3 played. And I think that's really good. Almost like a more raw experience of how the older games were, on how they probably gave you the feeling, or also how they were designed compared to how the newer games are. And this could be a bunch of different things. For one, guys, one thing I did notice off the bat from playing Forza Horizon 3 and 2 was the map. I gotta admit, Forza Horizon 2's map, guys, do not get me wrong, I'm gonna admit something. Forza Horizon 3's map is easily one of my favorite maps so far in the whole franchise, but I will admit Forza Horizon 2 ain't too far behind that, simply because of the amazing scenic European road vibe that the game really has to it. We all do know the game was focused on France and like an Italy type of setting, the coastal roads and the mountains and all that good stuff. And I do love the way the game does feel, and coming off of Forza Horizon 3 having like the open desert area, having the surfer's paradise, and having the rainforest area there. It's really crazy to me how both games do actually feel different, but in a good way, though, because when I was going on one game to another, one thing I will admit is you could probably see this everywhere, how, one game might feel the same, or everyone's like, this Forza, all the Forza are the same, right? But the thing is, though, if you go on and play, let's say 3, you could jump on 4, jump back on 3, but if you play 3 and then jump on 2, or, jump on an older title, then jump on a new one and try to, like, compare them, I do think a lot of people would also agree that they are definitely different games. And I think that's a great thing to notice. That's something I did as well. Looking at the map, looking at the density, the openness, or looking at the map designs of each area in each game, you can definitely tell that some roads are more twisty, some roads are tighter. They give you like a different driving feeling. That's something I really noticed in Forza Horizon 2, on how every single area kind of just really hit that. Now, one thing I did notice, though, jumping on 2 after 3 is kind of down to the fact of the progression in both games, guys. I will admit Forza Horizon 2, in ways to me, it kind of felt almost slower in a lot of ways. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but if you were to jump on FH3 and then do some races and, go through the championships and do that stuff and then jump on 2, that you'll probably notice that the overall progression might end up feeling a little bit slower. Now, is that a bad thing? I wouldn't say so, because when you are earning stuff in these older Forza games, I do feel like it still is a good thing that, you're obviously doing those events. Every single car that I bought in these games feels amazing. I did like the way Forza Horizon 3 felt when I was going through the game itself, leveling up, getting cars that would help me do more of these story races and then get farther into it. Kind of like how Forza Horizon 2 would allow me to do the championships. I pick those vehicles, I get the wheel spins to help me. It kind of all does play together a little bit, but you can also see the differences of how each game flows, which is something I find really interesting about this, guys. I'm not going to lie, because a lot of people, again, you could be like, well, each game is so dang similar, but it's kind of weird, because in Forza Horizon 2, I feel like the game is, a festival type of racer, obviously, but to me, it's like a festival racer that has a lot of structure, whereas on Forza Horizon 3, I feel like it's like, all right, bro, you're the boss now. Go build up every single thing around here. You know what I'm saying? Go do the races. Do what you got to do. And in Forza Horizon 2, it's like, all right, well, you kind of got to earn your name around here in these championships. That way you can get to the finale. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of different how each game does have that structure feeling to it, but just kind of done in a way that would make you go, no, these games do kind of feel a bit different. And, one thing I'd probably end up coming out and saying is I will probably admit, guys, there are some things I do like about Forza Horizon 3 that I did enjoy on how, that they did newer in that game, I would say, or different things like, for example, the car variety, the amount of different races in the game. I know a lot of people talked about in Forza Horizon 2 how when you were doing the championships that the races started getting repetitive and stuff. I will admit in Forza Horizon 3, jumping back and forth and playing each game for a little bit, for me in that game, though, it didn't really feel like the races were repetitive. Like, yeah, there was championships that you could do, but also like the exhibitions that you would do of the main races that you would have to get done. And almost felt like you had to have a bigger car variety in there, I would say, which is something I definitely noticed. And the overall speed of progression might have felt a little bit faster in that game, maybe because of it. At least something I was noticing when I was playing both of them. Now, we can all admit, though, the atmosphere of Forza Horizon 2, bro, 100% for me is unmatched. I loved it. And to be real, I love the atmosphere of Forza Horizon 3 as well. I love 2 and 3. Both games are really good. I think if you were to jump on one, then go to the other, though, you would definitely notice some, like, subtle differences of the overall weather design and stuff. But it's kind of crazy how both games really do look so dang good. Now, obviously, keep in mind that both games are only a couple years apart, so that is probably something there. But it kind of blows my mind how you would jump into Forza Horizon 2, or you know what? Let me word it like this: if you were playing Forza Horizon 3 and went backwards, you would probably assume that FH2 is outdated, right? You'd probably assume that the game is outdated going into that. Going, well, we all do know this game is older, so it's probably going to feel more outdated compared to 3. But one thing that's kind of crazy to me, though, is it can still feel like what newer games probably are missing nowadays. You know what I'm saying? If you were to play some of these old games, for example, again, if you jumped on FH3, FH4, bro, you could play 2, 1, whichever one you really want to do. I do feel like every single game that you play, regardless of the differences in them, they would still easily feel something, or at least you'd feel something out of it that the newer games do not. And that, it's kind of wild to me, man. When I was going back and forth and I played Forza Horizon 4, then went to 3 and played each game for a few hours there, it really did blow my mind how you had different experiences on each, but noticed some of the changes, or going, oh, I really like that in that game, or I really like this. I like the variety here. I like the overall progression design of this. I like how the map did this here. It's kind of crazy how you notice those things going back and forth. Do let me know what y'all think in the comments below. If you were to go back and play Forza Horizon 3, then go to 2, or play 4, go to 3, and vice versa with all the Forzas, what do you guys think would be some things you would notice going from a newer game and then playing an old one afterwards?